Hey everyone, welcome to another LBF Daily. Hope everyone is doing well during this stressful time we all find ourselves in. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about transitions. I don't know about you, but for my family, one of the hardest times of social distancing and shelter at home was the first couple of weeks, because we were transitioning from the normal patterns and rhythms of our lives to how we set up our mornings and evenings and taking kids to school, to now being at home and doing school from home. And the transition was really hard because, like I said, we worked really well in the systems that we've created for our family. And I think that we have to first understand that not only is it not going to be the same for the first couple of weeks, however many more weeks that we are stuck at home, we're going to have to create some new patterns and some new rhythms for our family before we'll ever get to the place that we feel like, for me, that we feel like we're thriving and doing well. This idea of coming up with new patterns and new rhythms made me think of one of my favorite Bible verses, Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Do not conform any longer to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I love this because it implies that we're wanting to find out what God's will is. And of course we are, especially now, maybe more than ever. We're like, God, what do you want us to do at this time? I see people online who are like working on that devotional book they've always wanted to write, or reading tons and tons of Bible scripture with their kids. And maybe you're still struggling to find out what your new daily rhythm is. I think we want to know what's God's will for us during this time, so that we can make the most of this time that we have that's different. And it says to find out what God's will, what you have to do is not to no longer conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I like to think of that as changing the way that you think about the world around you. I think we need to change the way that we think about what's happening to us now. We need to identify the things that we want to do in our life now, the ways we want to lead our children and our family spiritually. I think for me, it's taken a long time to realize what we really need to do. From Stacy, my wife, and I sit down and write a new schedule for our family, what it looks like, what we do in the morning, since we no longer take our kids to school and head off to work. What do we do now with that extra time? How do we really maximize our time at home? Even though we're stuck at home on the weekends, maybe we should write a plan and a schedule what we want to do this weekend, next weekend, and the next weekend. So we have a new way to live. I want to encourage you, if you feel like that you're just still in a transition, still trying to figure it out, that's okay. I think the reality is the next weeks or month that we are living like this is going to feel like a transition. But we should act now knowing that we've had to live like this for the past couple of weeks, and knowing that it's going to be a few weeks longer. Move from transition to making a plan, finding ways you can prioritize what God's will is for your life, seek him in prayer, planning that extra prayer time, planning that extra time in scripture, planning those family activities, days, weeks in advance, so we can really understand what God's will for us is during this time and make the most of it. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. What new things have you done in your family? What new patterns have you created? Hopefully what good things have come of it. And even if not so good things have come of it, even if you're really grieving the rhythms and the patterns that were lost, I love to hear from you guys about that. As always, I'll see you in the comments.